Welcome to the Wingmen Show. We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my friend, my good pal, Dr. Paul Thompson. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, Mr. Drew. Good to see you. I know you're excited. I know you had a real big night last night, and I guess you'll tell us all about it.
No doubt about it. I had a big day yesterday. But tell me about that fat person you got behind you.
Oh, that thing. This airplane here is a C-130 Hercules. This is one flown by the Blue Angels or in supporting the Blue Angels team. And the C-130, this is a special one. It's mainly a troop transport. It's been around since 1956. It does a variety of things. It's used by the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marine Corps. Mostly the Marine Corps, most of the Air Force. The Marines use it a lot, Navy not as much. Does a lot of things, mainly troop carrying, transport. They use it for air refueling. It can be a tanker. Moves stuff, doesn't go that fast, can go pretty high. There's something that'll help it take off. See these rockets over my left shoulder?
Yep.
Little flamethrowers. That's called JATO, Jet Assisted Takeoff. That's kind of an imprecise name. It's really rocket assisted. There's a term called RATO, rocket assisted takeoff. And it gives a little extra thrust for it to take off, with heavy loads. You don't see that much. I think that's just for show. They don't really need that.
But they shoot fire out when they
shoot fire out. That entertains people. Basically, the new engines on the newer models are powerful enough. They don't need to do it. Very versatile. I mean, they can use it. They can land on dirt. They can land on the ice. They fly in Antarctica. You'll see them put skis on the airplanes, and they land on skis, which is interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I've seen them land on the beach on the sand. They can make a runway on the sand. Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Well, you see that jet behind me?
Yeah, that's a nice picture.
So we look for jets every week. We look for jets, and anybody who's watching us on YouTube, you can see these badass planes we got behind us. But mine, since I said badass, I just typed in badass jet and this came up. I think it's not even a real jet, but it's a badass looking jet. So I figured that would be my jet today. But I still want to say hello to all our frequent flyers, all the people who listen to us, all our new listeners. Welcome. I was so glad to talk to you. Our newsletter is out on wingmenshow.com. Plus, you can get all our episodes. And we are sponsored by Magic Mind. What a great formula we take every morning. And we do more and we stress less. I don't know what else to say. But Magic Mind is all natural. Dr. Paul and I take it, and we're very happy with it.
Yeah.
You can get it on magicmind.co. I'll put that up on the screen, magicmind.co. And if you put in this code Wingman, you'll get 40% off some of your orders. So anyway, that's our sponsor. We're so proud to have them as sponsors. Yeah. Yesterday was my birthday. And believe it or not, I love my birthday. I tell everybody that I see starting like 2 or 3 days before. So yesterday, we had a very special day. Katrina and I, we went to go see Wakanda, the new Wakanda, which was excellent.
Good.
We ate hibachi steak and scallops. That's why I didn't eat any rice, no carbs, but I had delicious food. And then my son-in-law is a sports agent, and I call him my son. I don't like the in-laws, the outlaws, whatever. Anyway, my son, Nick, is a sports agent, and one of his players, Tyrese Martin, which I'll put a picture up, he plays on the Atlanta Hawks. So yesterday, on my birthday, who do you think they played? They played Dr. Paul's and I's number one team, the New York Knicks. And it couldn't have been better. We had great seats. We went down to the all VIP. It was just a great time there. And guess who I got to meet? Because I grew up with Muhammad Ali, so famous people don't do much to me. I don't get all crazy about wanting to meet him or get a picture with him. But this guy I did, because these are my childhood idols. Now look at the picture of myself and Walt Frazier, number 10, New York Knicks, who I watched as a kid all the time. it was a great day. I can't tell you how good it was. And my son, Nick, just took care of us. Thank you, Nick. A shout out to you. What do you think about that? You saw the game, and
That
I'm
was
looking
great.
at your Knicks cap right now.
Well, that was great. You were with the rich and the very, very, very famous. I was with the poor and struggling. I watched it at home on TV, but it was great. It was a great game. I enjoyed it. I thought about you. Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, I know who he is. That's great. That's great. People don't realize. Tyrese Martin.
Tyrese Maxey is on Philadelphia 76ers.
76. You're right. I got my Tyrese's mixed up. You're correct.
Yeah, Tyrese is a rookie, so it's not like he's getting a lot of playing time now, but he's a great ball player.
Yeah, they're all great. Even the guy on the end of the bench is better than 99.999% of the human population.
100% true.
For people who don't know that, this whole Knicks thing, I can see my little cap here, my Knicks cap, that in the 70s, Walt Frazier was up there with Muhammad Ali and in New York City, Joe Namath. In fact, between Joe Namath and Walt Frazier, I mean, that captured the youth movement of those who are athletically inclined, I'd say, in the city of New York.
Can I add my Mickey Mantle to that?
Yeah, you can. For a while. I forgot when he retired.
He's the only man I ever asked for an autograph from in my whole life. How about that?
Really? And he gave it to you?
Oh, yeah. It was after he played. I met him in a building in Dallas. Okay. And I got to tell you, I mean, he was my idol from a little boy. And you want to know something? Don't meet your idols.
Right.
Because it changes everything. They become real. They're not fictitious. I still loved them, but it just wasn't the same after you meet them.
Mickey Mantle was up there and Roger Maris at the time. I mean, they were huge in the city. But that's great. You got to see them, and you probably got to eat some good hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, great seats.
They had sushi at the game.
Oh, really?
Now, the VIP thing. Sashimi, sushi. They had plenty of food, and it was free drinks. It was wonderful.
Were you near the bench? Of which side?
Oh, the seats?
Yeah.
The seats were not actually near the bench, no. Okay. The seats were not. They don't give. So I'll tell you a little bit even more about my experience with basketball, but I wanted to say something else about the Knicks and Atlanta game. The Knicks on my birth certificate, they're on the birth certificate. Knicks, Giants, Yankees. That's it. That's my teams. So I love them so much. I have second teams, and my second team is wherever I live. So I really like the Atlanta Hawks a lot. And since it wasn't a championship game, this is how my brain works, Dr. Paul. I was happy when everybody scored. Knicks scored, I'm happy. Atlanta scored, I'm happy because I watched both of them. And since, like I said, if they were playing each other for the championship, it's not even close. But they weren't. So instead of not liking somebody, I liked them both.
I did too. It was a very enjoyable game. They got, especially towards the end. I was surprised.
It sure was. Well, guess what else happened? The week before, I have a childhood friend, Danny Rappaport. We both grew up in Brooklyn. He grew up in Manhattan Beach. I grew up in Brighton Beach. Anyway, Danny's a very, very close friend. And we'll talk about close friends here in a little while. But he is part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow.
How about that? So he took me to the game, and he also took me to practice. So I got to see all these guys way up close and, talk with them and just watch how they react without a whole bunch of people around. Well, first of all, he said, come to the game. We got seats and everything. I'm thinking I'm sitting damn near on the bench since he's a part owner. Well, guess what? Away teams give the owners and the other team the shittiest seats you can get. Not way up, but up far enough where they're not the best seats. And I never knew that. I thought they give you great seats, and they don't. And I said, well, how come they don't give you good seats? He said, first of all, they don't want you that close to the court. But second of all, they sell those good seats. Yeah. And this sport is about making money. But Katrina and I got to see the championship ring, and I will show you pictures of that on YouTube. What a freaking ring this is. First of all, the top comes off, and you can wear it as a pendant. And when the top comes off, the inside of the ring has a QR code that if you put your camera to it, you'll get the last 2 minutes of the championship game when they won the championship. And that was made by Giannis. He came up with all that, Antetokounmpo.
Really?
Is that not amazing?
Yeah, I mean, wow. I didn't know. I know he's like a designer too.
Well, he didn't design. He came up with the idea of putting it there.
Okay, and they did it.
They did it. It's crazy. But, like I said, you YouTube watchers, you will see it. And I want to give a shout out. I forgot to give out to my friend Welch Fair. He loves our show and we love him. He lives in your neighborhood, but I do have to give a shout out because he's a very, very frequent flyer. And that brings me to this point. Boy, did we learn something this week. First of all, what do you think is better for your health than exercise, diet, or career achievements?
Being happy.
Being happy. Harvard did a study for 85 years, and they said the number one thing for your health and happiness is long-term relationships. And I don't mean long-term in 50 years. It could be 3-4 years, whatever it is. It is your friendships, your real good friendships that are the healthiest thing. And that's what they found in 85 years. That's who lived the longest and lived the healthiest and lived the happiest. Long-term relationships. And guess what you and I have, Paul? A long-term relationship.
That's right. That's right. Known you a long time. Known you a long time from Key West, Florida. But it's interesting, how life changes. It's good to have good friends. Like, Welch Fair is a great friend of both of us, and we appreciate him liking the show. We also appreciate everyone that subscribes to us, that listens, likes, subscribes, and shares the message. Pass this on to other people. If you're looking at YouTube, please give us a like. It helps with the algorithm. And share this with somebody you like. Even somebody you don't like, it might help them.
Oh, that's great. Even on Apple Podcasts, you can write a review for us. That would be great. That would help us. But this long-term relationship, that's really important because sometimes people isolate and they think that they're happier without people. And we are social beings. Remember, we're Homo sapiens. Right. The race is called human. And all of us need certain needs. And it's amazing that Harvard, and you and I have a story about Harvard, but it's amazing Harvard came up with that. And it just seems so true. And anybody out there who has friends, try to be good to your friends and keep the ones that you've had for a long time. And don't let little stupid misunderstandings mess up something that took years to build. Our egos get involved with that, Dr. Paul.
Right. Yeah. People's egos get involved. And I've seen people fall out over silly stuff and they don't even remember what it was.
No doubt.
Hey, what it was. Well, it was something in 1963 or what was it? I don't know. It was something. You don't remember what it was. I do that
all the time. I think about it. Even when you have a little argument or a big argument with your spouse, in 6 months, you have no idea what that argument's about.
Yeah, it might be.
But why do you let anything take you to the depths of craziness?
We can't be emotional on nonsense. I think this lockdown with COVID has affected a lot of people too. I think it's been probably hardest on young people who were really disrupted in terms of their schooling and their social interactions. And it's hard enough on young people, hard enough on everybody, but particularly the young in this day and age to really maintain a sense of balance. And having the COVID knock everybody off balance is something we're still recovering from. I think people will look back on this period, hope it doesn't happen again, it may happen, but they'll look on this period maybe 30, 40, 50 years from now in terms of the long-term effects it'll have.
That's true. This COVID thing has been something, but you know what? It's gone right now. And to me, it was like a dream. And a lot of people made it through. A lot of people died. We saw a lot of ignorance in the country. We saw this COVID thing brought up a lot of things in the country that I didn't really know existed. I didn't know they had that many dumb people in America. So I just have to say that. Okay, we were talking about Harvard. So let me tell you about my little Harvard story. When Taryn, my daughter, graduated from the University of Texas, she went to Japan to coach basketball. And then she came back here and coached college basketball. And then she worked for the state attorney of New York. And she gave me a call because I told her to go to law school right away. She gave me a call and said, Dad, I think you were right. So she started her process to go to law school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you know, after she took her LSATs, I took Taryn up to Harvard to try to get in.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a weekend. It was a holiday and nobody was there. But we walked the halls and talked to some people. The way you get into Harvard, if you're not invited, is go up there and get yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only way you get something in life is go and do it. And we did it. She didn't go to Harvard. She graduated from Tulane Law, which is incredible. She was the sports editor of the law review. It was a great thing. But I just wanted to say, I said, Taryn, let's go to Harvard. What's your Harvard story?
My Harvard story, yeah, I did attend Harvard. I visited the bookstore. I went to the bookstore and I got a very good sweatshirt and about 4 T-shirts for one for my grandson, one for myself, and one for my wife. So I can say, yes, I attended Harvard. I went to the bookstore. It's got 2 stories. It's a 2-story bookstore. It's a pretty big bookstore.
Oh, I'm sure it is. You know what somebody told me? If your town doesn't have a bookstore in it, move.
Right.
Have you ever heard that before?
I haven't heard that. Well, it's hard to find bookstores now. You know, Amazon kind of put the kibosh on a lot of things.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago. But I find it very amazing that towns that don't have bookstores are a little bit made up of different people than towns that do have bookstores.
That's true. That's true.
So you know what that brings me to? It is time for Wingmen PSA. From the 11 facts in life, this would be part of fact 3. Times of struggle are times of growth proportionally. Times of struggle are times of growth proportionally. And that just means the more you go through, the more you get if you handle it right.
That's right.
You like that?
That's good. That's good. Yeah, times of struggle. That's how you build your body. You exercise. You stress the muscle. You kind of overstress a little bit. You rest, and it builds while you're resting. That's the theory. But if you didn't have that stress, you wouldn't build anything.
Let's talk about the top 5 destinations if you're a solo traveler. This was a survey of the top travelers and the top people in the world. They did a big survey on this, and they found the top 5 places for solo travelers. You ready for them?
Yeah, where are they?
Okay. If you're a city lover, our city, Doc, New York City. Gotcha. They say it's one of the best places in the world if you're a solo city lover. If you are a Europe lover, go to Switzerland. Now, I've been to Switzerland, and the truth was, I think I flew somewhere, Switzerland. I stepped off the plane, touched ground. So that's my trip to Switzerland.
I'm about the same. I was on a train, though.
If you're a mountain lover, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. How about that?
Okay. Never been there.
Okay. Where did your daughter go to school? Where did Camille go to school? She went to the Air Force Academy.
Yeah,
where's that at?
That's Colorado Springs.
Colorado.
Very, very, very scenic, very picturesque.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
They're skiing around there, and they go to Denver. Denver's like 30 miles away, and there's lots of places to ski up there.
For beach lovers, now I've been here many times. It's Virgin Gorda in the British Virgin Islands. So we lived on St. Thomas for 10 years in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and you could take a ferry right to Virgin Gorda. And it is absolutely incredible. It is absolutely incredible. And the last one for you nature lovers out there, I've been there, Iceland. And it's funny, Iceland is all nature and Greenland is all ice.
Right. It's funny. Yeah, flying over Greenland many times. I never saw anything green from the air. But I've heard of that about Iceland. In fact, my brother-in-law went to Iceland a couple of years ago in the summer just to see. He said it was great. A couple other friends have done it too in the summertime.
And you know, it's real cheap to get to Iceland for some reason.
Yeah,
They've made the airfare so cheap. Now, when you get there, it's not that cheap. But for some reason, the airfares to Iceland are extremely low.
Okay. I think you can take Icelandic Air out of JFK or Newark.
I don't know, but I think I went round trip for $200-$300.
Okay. Cost you that to go to Memphis. Wow.
Yeah, but it cost you that for a good meal in Iceland too.
Oh, okay. Okay. They get you in other ways. Like,
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's
like Las
definitely
Vegas.
not cheap.
Yeah, Las Vegas, the food is cheap, but they want you gambling all the time. So.
That is true. You know, with our magic mind, we try to do ingredients once a week. And this ingredient today is lion's mane mushroom. It's big, it's white, and it has a lot of good properties to it. You want to tell me a little bit about this lion mane that's in Magic Mind?
Yes, it's a big white mushroom. It's good for I know it's good for inflammation. Has a lot of antioxidant properties. What else is good?
And it's good for dementia, they say.
Oh, dementia, really?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to have some more of them. You never know. Yeah, and I guess it's probably very popular in Asian cooking. I've heard Asian cooking, particularly Japanese stuff. You probably had some yesterday if you had your hibachi grill.
Yes, no doubt. Well, it's supposed to be good for anti-inflammatories. My body is getting older, and it is, and that's okay. And that's why I'm working so hard to try to keep it as long as possible. Keep my body healthy and pain-free as long as possible. I'm going through a little bit something now with a pinched nerve in the neck, but pain is, you and I were talking about that. This pain thing, it's very easy to get hooked on drugs if you're in a lot of pain. Because when you take a pill, the pain goes away and it elevates your mood a little bit. And a regular young person would say, hey, this is great. The problem is one pill doesn't do it anymore. Then you have to go to 2. Then you go to 3. And then addiction kicks in and you need 1, 2, or 3 just to be normal.
Right.
The pain is gone. There's no more pain. You're just trying to feel normal. And it's a horrible thing, those opioids. So pain is something, and I'll keep you abreast of what's going on with my pain, but I'll be okay. And if you want to, and I'm taking this Magic Mind for that. I like to take good stuff for my body, and everything in this Magic Mind is good. I mean, you're really particular about it. You go to a natural health doctor. So know this stuff, Dr. Paul. And when I listen to somebody like you, I listen and I take their advice. You know more than I do about this. But Magic Mind, if you guys want to get this, all you have to do is go to magicmind.co. I'll have that up on the screen. And if you want a 40% discount, just put in the code Wingman. Wingman. All right? How about that, Paul?
That's good. In fact, I gave it to a friend yesterday that asked about it. He's heard it. He listens to the broadcast, but he forgot what the code was. So I just told him, just type in Wingman.
Very interesting what we're going to get into right now. And, we do Wingman all the time. And sometimes we do Wingman that's not just for one person, but could be for thousands of people. Now, I didn't know the difference between artisanal and industrial mining. I had no idea about these words. Well, artisanal mining is mining with your hands. And that is illegal all over the world unless you're doing it for yourself. Industrial mining is what we all do, and that's with machines. Well, today, we talk about slavery in the past, how bad it was, people coming over from Africa on ships, how horrible it is. Well, what if you were in Africa, you didn't get on a ship, and you still are enslaved? And Dr. Paul, this sticks with me. You have done me very good with this. They are not slaves. Slaves are not slaves. They are men and women who are enslaved. And I really appreciate that so much, because when you're enslaved, as soon as you're free, you're free. If you're a slave, all you are is a slave who is free. So it doesn't identify you. Dr. Paul, can you please tell us about our Wingman this week? Wonderful.
Yeah, well, our Wingman, if I summed it up, this week's Wingman is a rich man that dropped a dime. I'm talking about a man named Siddharth Kara. Siddharth Kara. Siddharth Kara is a very unlikely hero and an very unlikely undercover agent. This guy was a banker, an investment banker at Merrill Lynch. He specialized in mergers and acquisitions, just like Taryn, doesn't she? He specialized in mergers.
M&A, that's what Taryn does.
Yeah, M&A, not M&Ms, M&A, mergers and acquisitions. And he did really, really well. He was involved in a lot of big projects. And he ended up got an MBA at Columbia University. Before he did that, he went to Duke University. And while I was a student there, he founded a group called Refugees in Action, the Refugees in Action Project. And he was concerned about refugees. After finishing his MBA at Columbia and doing the investment management stuff, he went out on a self-funded journey investigating slavery around the world. And that took him to different places. He was in Asia, he was in parts of Indonesia, and quite a bit in Africa. And he concentrated a lot of time in the Congo. He was in the Congo, where there's a lot of cobalt mining. The cobalt mining is involved in producing the things that make this show. It's in phones, it's in tablets, in electric cars. And this cobalt is very valuable. It takes a lot of it to make the devices we like. But most people don't know is that the cobalt that goes into your devices comes out of slave-like conditions. People are sometimes forced at gunpoint to work these mines, to do this artisanal mining by hand, maybe a shovel now and then if they're nice. There's even something called tunnel mining, which is artisanal mining, and they send them down these little tunnels. The abuses are horrendous. They use a lot of children. This is in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where there's a lot of corruption. They use a lot of kids as young as 6 and 7. Many of them die. They're exposed to cancers, heart disease, all kinds of things, tunnel collapses, which are very common. And sometimes people they lose multiple children just in the day. Sometimes they just grab the kids, or the families are involved in it too, just to eke out a living. And I remember looking at Elon Musk. Someone was asking Elon Musk about it. And he said, well, it goes on, but there's nothing we can do. Kind of just shrugged his shoulders. So they're involved in it. Microsoft, all the big companies are involved, and they know about it.
Doesn't China own all of it?
China owns a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it.
And the way they do it is, don't they make deals with the warlords over there? And so actually the warlords are enslaving their people. Yeah,
China's a big part of it. They're the most aggressive in the southern region of the country.
And why is cobalt so important?
Well, it goes, like I said, it goes into your iPhones, your tablets, your computers, your electric vehicle batteries, your batteries, all battery related. It's primarily battery related. You need a lot of it. And the Congo has, they think, about 70% of the world's supply.
That's right.
I mean, you can probably find some in Arizona, but 70% of it's concentrated in a small area, and they use a lot of kids. Every day, it's estimated there are about 40,000 children that are involved in this, about 40,000 on average. That's according to UNICEF. So he said, well, they're working. Are they going to school? No. So there are all kinds of abuses. They use them, they die. They're basically like, matchsticks. And it's at the government level. And Siddharth Kara took a lot of risks just getting the story out. He had the cameras, the undercover cameras. And of course, he's with these people who are kind of getting him in and out. But if they get discovered by the wrong people, may not go very well for them.
They're not American courts over there, are there?
No, and he wrote a book detailing it's called Cobalt Red, How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives. If you want to buy the book, Siddharth Kara, Siddharth.
Well, we'll put that up on the screen then.
Yeah, Kara. Yeah, if you want to read the book.
That's an incredible Wingman story. That's an incredible Wingman story, Dr. Paul.
Shout out to Mr. Kara, who was actually raised in Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
He's family's from Mumbai, Bombay, they called it Mumbai, but he actually went to most of his early schooling was in Memphis.
Wow. Our Wingman from last week Paul E. Johnson, Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right. Strange.
That was our home base for a long time. Well, Dr. Paul, I'll tell you this. Whatever is beautiful, whatever is meaningful, and whatever makes you happy, everybody out there, may you have it today and beyond. And I pray for peace.
I pray for peace, and everybody make it a good day.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.